Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission, well, it's pretty simple. We take a whole stack of information, could be research, articles, notes, and boil it down. We want to get to the crucial stuff, the surprising knowledge you actually need. So today, we're really digging into the story behind a movement called 4BM. We're doing this through the eyes of one of its founding members, the lawyer Barbara Tarragon.
That's right.
Yeah.
And our sources, they really map out her path pretty clearly, starting back in 2016.
Yeah.
She was, a final year university student, really looking hard for guidance, for mentorship on just getting into the job market.
Right.
But fast forward to today, she's running her own private legal practice, HTT Legal, high-level stuff.
So the big question we're tackling, the mission for this deep dive, is how? How does access to, well, mostly free resources and a network, how does that actually translate into this kind of high-stakes professional success?
Especially, and this is key, for people starting out from backgrounds with fewer resources. The very group 4BM aimed to help, sometimes called the Bottomillons.
Okay, let's really unpack this then. Because look, this isn't just your standard story about, oh, I got a good first job.
No, not at all.
The real story here, the deeper narrative, it's about strategically using those early connections, those free resources, to eventually land something huge, like a major commercial brief. And this is critical, turning that win into real, tangible advocacy for the community.
It's the whole life cycle, really. Leveraging the network from start to finish, and then some. It's fascinating stuff.
It really is. So let's kick things off at the very beginning, the spark. 2016, Barbara's in her final year of law school. What was the specific pressure point? What drove her to 4BM in the first place?
Well, the need was pretty immediate, pretty practical. She needed guidance, basically. Mentorship. How do you make that jump from being a student to actually being employed?
Especially if you don't have those built-in family connections.
Exactly. The job market can feel like a black box. She was essentially looking for a way in, a roadmap.
And she didn't just join and sit back, did she? Our sources say her first actual role was organizing events.
That's right.
Now, on the surface, that might sound like, okay, standard entry-level stuff. But when you look closer at the details, the scale seems quite different.
Precisely. You have to look at it strategically, not just as admin work. Her tasks involved working directly with the Ministry of ICT.
Wow.
And coordinating several, private, pretty high-profile functions.
Okay, hang on. Think about that. She's a final year student, probably didn't have a ton of professional clout yet.
Right.
And she's put in a position where she has to collaborate with government bodies, with high-level corporate people.
Yeah, it's quite something.
What really stands out there is the pressure cooker environment that must have created.
Totally.
She's managing these big, visible responsibilities while at the same time dealing with her own, limited personal resources and probably not much professional exposure yet.
It absolutely forced her to professionalize, and fast. She had to pick up sophisticated networking skills, learn how to negotiate at a high level, professional communication, all pretty much on the fly.
High-stakes learning, basically.
It really is. And look, that kind of forced adaptation, it's often the hidden engine driving success for really talented people who start with less. You give them the platform, and it's sink or swim.
And Barbara clearly swam.
Oh, absolutely. The initial cost to her was, time and a lot of effort. But the payoff, invaluable real-world experience, professional credibility that probably shot way past where she technically was in her career path.
That exposure no doubt laid the groundwork. But let's pivot to the tangible benefits, the things that helped her on that journey to actually becoming an admitted lawyer. What specific free resources from 4BM were genuinely instrumental, not just nice extras?
Yeah, good question. I think it was the way the resources were curated and targeted that really mattered. First off, the job ads shared on the platform. This wasn't just some generic job board. The quality of the leads must have been high because they directly led her to landing a really foundational opportunity at one of the country's top law firms.
That's huge. For someone without the established network, getting those high-signal leads, it cuts through so much noise. It kind of levels the playing field a bit, doesn't it?
It really does. Targeted access can break down those barriers into elite places, so that was one thing.
What else helped her actually thrive once she got her foot in the door?
Two things, I think, that often get overlooked but are so important for moving up.
Yeah.
Skills refinement and soft skills.
Soft skills, yeah.
So 4BM had free online courses. Those helped sharpen her legal skills, obviously. But then there was the 4BM library.
A library?
Yeah, offering a pretty wide range of books, materials, focused specifically on strengthening those soft skills.
Yeah.
Professional development kind of stuff.
That's really significant. We tend to focus so much on the technical side, the qualifications, but navigating those corporate environments, having that cultural capital, those soft skills, that's often the biggest hurdle for people coming from, let's say, non-traditional backgrounds.
Absolutely. So you put it all together, the job leads, the skills courses, the soft skills development, these things collectively played a really profound role in shaping her legal career.
It really shows that access to good, curated information and tools, it can genuinely open doors that might otherwise stay locked because of, structural issues like lack of connections or money.
It's a powerful case for the value of focused community knowledge sharing, for sure.
Okay, that early success part is really compelling. But let's not gloss over the challenges. The sources do highlight some bumps in the road. Even with this strong network, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
No, definitely not.
What were the limits? What did Barbara find that 4BM, being focused on free resources, just couldn't fully address?
She pointed out two main gaps, really, structural gaps. First one, consistent financial support.
Okay.
And the second, consistent, dedicated one-on-one mentorship.
Let's stick with the money aspect for a second. She mentioned that lack of financial backing sometimes made it tough to grab opportunities that were maybe just beyond her immediate reach.
Yeah.
Can a network, no matter how strong the connections are, can it really overcome a fundamental lack of cash?
That's a really tough question, and it points to a major limitation. Her experience, it reflects a much broader reality for many people from the bottom millions.
How so?
Well, access to information, like those job leads, gets you in the race, gets you to the starting line. But moving forward, advancing, that often takes capital.
Right. For more education, maybe special certifications.
Or even just the ability to survive a period of low pay while you chase a really high-stakes opportunity.
Yeah.
4BM provided the network, the info, but they weren't set up to provide that kind of sustained financial help.
Okay, so if the organization itself couldn't fill those gaps, finance and that personalized mentorship, how does she navigate that? Because clearly she did, otherwise she wouldn't be running her own firm now.
She essentially had to build her own sort of shadow infrastructure of support. She got really proactive.
How? What did that look like?
Well, for the mentorship gap, she actively sought out alternative mentors, senior people already established in the legal field, people who could offer that really specific, seasoned guidance that goes beyond general career advice.
So finding mentors outside the immediate 4BM circle.
Yes. And for the money side, she tapped into her peer networks. And importantly, she aggressively went after scholarships and funding opportunities completely separate from 4BM.
That's a really critical point, isn't it? It shows that while the network, 4BM, provides the platform, the launch pad, it's the individual's drive to actively bridge those remaining structural gaps that really determines the final altitude. It wasn't just about being in the community, it was about spotting the deficits and building external solutions.
Exactly right. And this brings up a big question, really, for anyone listening. Access to opportunities is vital. We see that clearly. But without that parallel financial backing and without structured, tailored mentorship, talent can really struggle to reach its full potential.
It underlines the need for more holistic support systems, going beyond just information sharing.
Definitely.
Okay, let's shift gears then to where she is now. Fast forward to today. She's an arbitrator, an accredited mediator, founder of her own practice, HTT Legal. That's a huge jump in achievement, in autonomy.
It absolutely is. And what's really interesting is how her current success ties directly back to those early investments she made in the network, even way back when she was organizing those events in 2016.
How so? Give us an example.
Okay, consider one of her major professional wins recently.
Right.
Mediating a really high-stakes commercial dispute. Two big corporate players involved.
Right.
She managed to guide them to an amicable settlement, saving both sides a ton of money they would have spent on litigation.
That requires an incredible level of trust, mediating something like that.
Absolutely. The highest level of commercial trust. And here's the kicker. The brief for that dispute, the opportunity itself, where'd it come from?
Let me guess. 4BM.
Directly through one of the 4BM networks. That initial investment, years ago, building connections, gaining skills, establishing credibility, it ultimately paid off by opening the door to this massive, high-value opportunity. The kind most lawyers work decades to reach.
Wow. That is a tangible, undeniable return on investment from that early network building. Powerful validation.
It really is. Validation of the network's quality and, of course, her highly developed skills.
Okay, that's the professional ROI. Now, let's bring in a personal detail that you mentioned earlier, something that really shapes her practice today. Beyond the career wins, 4BM seems to have reinforced her commitment to community.
Yes.
We know she's from the Ogiek community, an indigenous minority group in Kenya, one that's faced significant historical injustices. And critically, she is currently the only female lawyer from that entire community.
And that unique background, it's not just an interesting fact. It fundamentally shaped the direction of her firm, HTT Legal.
How did it do that?
Her personal history, her deep awareness of systemic injustice, it seems to have inspired her to embed advocacy right into the core of her successful commercial practice.
So it's not just about making money.
No. As a direct result, she built a really robust pro bono department within HTT Legal. It's specifically designed to support underserved, underprivileged clients. It's her way of reinforcing that commitment to access to justice.
That's really paying it forward, isn't it? Turning her own hard-won success into something that creates structural change or at least access for her community.
It's the full circle, really.
So looking ahead now, if she were to suggest one key change, one strategic addition to amplify 4BM's impact for the next generation coming through, what gap does she think needs filling most urgently?
Her suggestion is very specific, very targeted. She strongly advocates for setting up a formal, structured mentorship and sponsorship program.
Mentorship and sponsorship, what's the difference there?
Mentorship is guidance, advice. Sponsorship is when someone senior actively uses their influence and capital to open doors for you, advocating for you, connecting you to high-level opportunities, maybe even funding.
Okay. So linking young professionals directly with experienced practitioners who can provide both that sustained guidance and tangible help.
Exactly. That's the missing piece she identifies, bridging that gap between advice and actual enablement.
And characteristically, she doesn't just talk the talk. She's already doing this herself, isn't she? You mentioned she runs her own private WhatsApp group sharing opportunities.
Yes, she leads by example, and she shared a great little success story from that personal effort.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Through that small private group, she personally helped one member secure a fully funded scholarship to study in Germany.
Wow.
And get this, it was in 2021, right in the middle of all the pandemic travel chaos and uncertainty.
That just shows the power of that really targeted, committed personal advocacy. It mirrors the kind of structured program she's suggesting for the larger 4BM network.
Precisely. It shows it can be done and the impact it can have.
Before we wrap up, you mentioned personal influences. Was there anyone in particular within that 4BM sphere who really stood out for her?
Yes, she specifically highlighted one person, Ogiek. She described her as very confident, very grounded, and just intensely inspiring.
And what role did that connection play?
It seemed to have been crucial in building Barbara's own confidence, helping her develop an authentic leadership style, something resilient. Those personal connections, those role models, they matter hugely.
Absolutely. So pulling this all together, what's the key takeaway for you, the listener? Maybe you're thinking about joining a professional network right now, or you're already in one. What's Barbara's core message from this whole journey?
I think it's pretty clear. Make the absolute most of the free resources available. Don't just browse. Use them with intense focus.
Engage actively, right? Don't just be a name on a list.
Exactly. Engage consistently within the community. And maybe most importantly, always commit to paying it forward. Yeah. Because the real lasting strength of any network isn't just what you get out of it.
It's what everyone puts back in,
Yeah.
strategically lifting the next person up.
That's the core of it. We've seen how vital access to good information is, how important that early exposure can be, like organizing those high-stakes events she did.
Yeah.
But that leap, the transition from just finding a decent job to, say, mediating a massive corporate dispute, that often hinges on securing that high-level sustained mentorship and bridging that financial enablement gap we talked about.
Right.
So for you, listening to this, it leaves a really strategic question on the table. If the big institutions, the networks you're part of, aren't quite set up yet to provide that specific financial backing or that deep personal sponsorship,
What do you do?
what specific high-leverage relationships do you need to proactively build outside the main system, just like Barbara did? How do you ensure your talent doesn't just get by, but actually gets the fuel it needs to truly thrive?
That proactive step, finding or creating that support structure yourself, that seems to be the critical next frontier for closing that resource gap.
That's the challenge and the opportunity.